So we've been spending some time in the dungeons with Cyanide Studios here at Gamescom to find out a little bit more about a game that you announced just a couple of weeks ago, Impire, a game set in the Majesty universe, sort of like Dungeon Keeper. What's the basics of Empire?
Yeah, Empire is a game that mixes dungeon management / RTS / RPG elements to it, and it's very interesting because I think the thing that we are the most excited about that game is that you can actually go outside. You can build your dungeon, manage it, and send troops outside to do raids or to the battlefield area.
So yeah, speaking of that, this is actually the progression that you see in the game. You're starting out as this little tiny dungeon lord, not quite as impressive as he'd like to be.
Yeah, the thing is, back in the old days, well, not the old days, but a few days before the story starts, the dungeon lord, Baal, he was a 12 feet tall, huge demon in the abyss. But the thing is, that quack sorcerer Oscar just summoned him, and he's not good at all, and he just screwed up, and Baal ended up in that tiny weeny impy form, and he's quite pissed off about that.
So you mentioned just how sort of the game is very diverse. You have both the sort of the dungeons that you build and all the traps and the heroes that keep coming in, but you also go outside and you actually sort of send troops of your own outside. So can you tell us a little bit how that dynamic works?
Well, it's quite complex because you really need to be always on your toes. Things are happening everywhere. So basically, you are managing your dungeon, you are creating units, you are putting some traps to protect your dungeon. And the thing is, as your dungeon progresses, like its fame, its reputation go up, the dungeon level go up. So heroes of higher caliber come and they try to plunder your dungeon and destroying your rooms and stealing your treasures. So you always need to be very wary about that. But at the same time, you need to create many types of units and put them into squads. And these squads, you send them to the surface to do raids, to bring back resources, bring back food and things like that to help you on your quest and doing also other quest-related things outside on the surface there through a raid map. But at the same time, you need to go on the battlefield area, because in Empire, you have your dungeon, and right beside it, you can make your unit cross a little portal and go to a very specific area that is related to the scenario, for instance. So you always need to basically manage your dungeon, put some traps, send units to raids, and also go at the middle at the gameplay area in the middle to be able to do some mission objective. It's more like kind of a RTS-ish gameplay when you're in the gameplay area, the battlefield. So there's many things going on at the same time. So if you're a little bit distracted or focus only on one thing, forget about it.
So that takes us to something where you perhaps will have to have even more focus is when you're playing multiplayer. You have co-op in there, but you also have multiplayer modes. Can you touch on what the multiplayer is all about?
Yeah, in multiplayer you can play up to 4 people at the same time. So basically it's dungeons versus dungeons versus dungeons versus dungeons. So you have 4 dungeons, 4 dungeon lords that's gonna manage their own dungeon, and in the middle you have the battlefield. And this is where the magics happen, because the thing is, you can basically, as a video game developer, we can basically do anything we want there, like capture the flag, king of the hill, battle royale type of thing. We can create alliance with other player if you want. So there's a lot of things, lots of possibility, especially for DLCs many different type of gameplays. We can do a lot of things there.
So you would want to have a certain dungeon built for a certain type of battlefield then?
Well, yeah, actually, it's part of the strategy because when you progress in the game, you gain tech points. You have kind of a tech tree where you can unlock different type of rooms, different types of units, and different type of crafts, upgrades. And when you do different things in your dungeon, depending on what you construct first and what you're doing, you're going to gain tech points in different ways. So this heavily influence how you will position yourself, how you will create digs corridors and things like that. So of course, if you have like a king of the hill type of gameplay area in the middle, you will have to think specifically, okay, I need to pump out like units really fast to send them there so they can occupy the area where there's that little flag for the king of the hill gameplay. So yeah, absolutely.
All right, and what's the target release date for Empire?
Well, right now we're in pre-alpha, so there's still a little bit to go there. We are aiming at the Q1 2013.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.